Hey all, my name is Adam Conrod, and we're doing this podcast on Trailer Park Boys regards of their March 21st autograph session. I guess we're just trying to sell beer at Dartmouth Crossing. At 37 Ligament Close. I never ever heard of a street name like that before. It's Dartmouth Crossing, so I'd imagine all those roads are all private road, so that would make sense why this road doesn't make it's hard to pronounce. Legalmund Road closed. Legalmund closed. Anyways, it was at Dartmouth Crossing from 1 to 4. Unfortunately, I couldn't attend that session. I would have came out, but unfortunately for me, where I'm self-employed, unfortunately, work is starting to pick up, and I'm getting new contracts. I'm getting new jobs to be starting up, and fortunately, I gotta attend my business. I gotta attend that, and as luck would have it, it would happen to fall on that day. And the work I do is property maintenance, cut lawns, weeding gardens. I don't like making gardens, but unfortunately, sometimes I do that. Moving wood, packing wood, and all that stuff. Just basic simple stuff that people know when they get old is getting harder to do. So that's what we do. That's what I do. But this week was a very questionable week with a giant question mark all week long right next to me. Everything that could go wrong, that the most fucked up stuff could happen, was happening. I live in Porter's Lake. I go for my nightly walk at 8 o'clock at night. So I'm walking down the West Porters Lake Road. Now get this. I get to the Fountain Road intersection in Middle Porters Lake. Just at the brook, what do I encounter? I would assume it's a dog. But I would say, why would there be a dog running loose at that hour at night? Just running freely, like as if there was no consequences or nothing in place of its owner catching him and all that stuff. And I looked at this dog a little closer. I said, this is too skinny to be a dog. It's a dog. It's not a fox. It's too big to be a fox, but too skinny to be a dog. So I put my flashlight on him. I got closer. It was a coyote. So I monitored the coyote. He was walking. So the son of a whore noticed me. And I read up on those bastards. And it states usually coyotes will run away from people. But if they're in packs, watch yourself. Usually me and coyotes get along perfectly in where I live. Now get this. The son of a horse started walking up to me. Just taking his good old time walking up, and I knew this ain't a dog. Is there something wrong? See, me, I got the capability, I can sense things. And my instincts, my sensitivity was kicking in. I said, this is no fucking dog. I said, you want to watch it here. I said, a coyote, the son of a whore, pretty well walked up to me, and he stopped. He came up some more, and he stopped. And there was a side road off the side, and I said, I want to go through here. I want to get out of here just in case. I got no gun on me. I got no loud sound effects or anything I sometimes use in my films. I got none of that stuff, because sometimes what I do out in the community, you'll see me carrying a good serious gun on me. A lot of people think it's real. It's a prop gun. It's a prop gun, but the sound effects, she looks mighty real. She goes off. And it scared a lot of people. They think it's real, but no, it's a prop gun. And I said, if I brought my prop gun, I wonder if that would have scared the coyote off, just him thinking it's real when it's not. Because also has an air horn home. I left that home, of course, and it was fucked up. So I asked somebody about it, and he said, no, if a coyote comes up to you, he said, you might want to watch it, because he says, usually if a coyote comes up to you, that's own free will like that, like I described it, he told me usually it means they got rabies, and they intend to attack. They're picking up, they're investigating the possible prey before the attack, and he basically said they think the coyote thinks you're too big of an object, that you could cause that coyote more damage than the coyote itself. And he asked me, well, was he alone? I go, yeah. He said, oh, you're probably good there, but he said, I wouldn't trust it. But this son of a whore walked right up, and it's not just like a dog walking up to you, he wants you to pet him and stuff. But this coyote was stopping and going, stopping and going. So I had to go the other way because I had enough distance. I got enough space. I could put distance between me and that coyote, and we did that. So that was fucked. And then a couple days later, my cousin's building a house in Porter's Lake. Now get this. They say Nova Scotia has cougars, but they're very hard to spot. He has those security cameras outside of his house. Didn't he catch one walking right by his house? He had a tail like a line, right long. His legs were like that thick, that wide, and it had a good sized head on it. And his property runs parallel with ours, just on the other side of it, and so we were saying, holy fuck, look what we got here now. So we had to deal with that. So this week was pretty fucked up, and where the week was, work was getting ready to start up for the summer, where I work for myself, self-employed. It's getting quite wacky, plus this week, I was flat broke, you don't get paid, your check don't come until next week. You get paid every 2 weeks of the month, so it's bad. But no, I would have came out if it wasn't for this bad luck would just happen to be happening. I actually would have came out, but as luck would have it, bad luck. But, it is what it is. It's not as if it's the end of the world. No, let's think of something else. Shit happens, and shit did happen. Now, you see that flag behind me now? That flag is our backdrop for the time being until this trade war with Canada and the United States has officially ended. That's to show my support for Canada. Now it's told President Donald Trump and King Charles are set to meet. I don't know what's going to come out of it. I don't know. I'm standing with Canada because I want our health care and we need our Canada pensions in place. Because it's all right to talk, let's pay for free health care, but if you're talking insurance premiums up to $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year, you're in big trouble. That's not something what we want to see. So that's why I support Canada over the United States. Fuck Trump, fuck the United States. I'd rather see the world go to war than see Canada join up with the United States because it's not worth it. I would not want to be part of the American people and their problems, what they got to deal with. Every president who they elected was very concerning, from President Bush to Trump. Kennedy was all right, but he had issues. But anyways, people ask me about Robb Wells, about his new show, The Trades. Is that what it's called, The Trades? Robb, you're my buddy. I think the world of you. But I'm going to tell you one thing about The Trades. I never watched not one episode about it, and I couldn't tell you what it's about because I'd never seen it. I respect you as a person, I respect you as an actor, but I had not watched not one episode of The Trades. I couldn't even tell you what it's about. The only thing I know is that the previews that I've seen with the show is that it's a bunch of former actors from Trailer Park Boys that are jumping on the show so they can fulfill that empty void spot where Trailer Park Boys had ended. Which I think is a terrible idea, because everyone's always going to start buddy stuff. See, what The Trades should be is a new acting gig for all actors across Canada, just not so-and-so. No, let's get him in here, let's get that in here. Let's get new acting talent to be noticed, because the cast of Trailer Park Boys, this is my opinion, already had their stage to work on and already had their spotlight to shine under. It's a good thing for Robb. I think Robb is a good fit for it, and nothing against him. But when I seen Pat Roach come on board, I was starting to think, this is not what you want. I understand that Roach is trying to find an acting gig to fill that empty spot where Trailer Park Boys had ended, full-time wise anyways, but I believe, that show should be open for all Canadian actors across Canada so they have their turn to shine on the stage and on in front of the spotlight, not these former actors from Trailer Park Boys taking the spotlight from these new performers. That's what I'm all about. I like to see new acting talent have their opportunity to shine instead of these people who we already seen a million times that either they failed or they didn't get the luck going in their favor how they would like it to happen. Because usually actors, when their acting gig, what they're known for, ends, usually that's the end of their acting career. It's a lot like, Full House. When Full House had ended, Bob Saget, Dave Coulier. They were the only two actors that was noticed in the acting world besides the rest of the cast. He was known for Bob Saget was known for America's Funniest Videos, then Full House, Dave Coulier, he had Full House, as in America's Funniest People came around. So when both shows went under, they're not heard of anymore. Because that's what the acting gig is like. You gotta ride that wave while it's going out where you want it to go, because once that wave goes, it goes. There's only one actor that I can think of that did very well in the acting business, and that's William Shatner. He paid his price. He did Star Trek. When Star Trek was canceled during the 1969, so I believe 68 was the year when it was canceled, and William Shatner himself stated in 69 when they were shooting the rockets up in space, the men, Neil Armstrong and all this stuff. He said he was homeless. He had a nasty divorce with his wife, Gloria. And he said he had nothing to do. There was no arguing, nothing like that. It was just he was away from home too many times. And he wasn't playing that father figure with his two daughters. And so he went, his wife, Gloria, filed for divorce. And it turns out that William Shatner went homeless for about a year. Lived in the back of his truck. And he said there was a funny story about that. He said a kid recognized him. He walked up and he had these hitch on the back of the trailer, that little camper on the back. But anyways, Bill Shatner took it off and he had these little legs standing on the ground. And this kid walked up. He goes, "Is that your spaceship?" And Bill goes, yeah, that's my spaceship. And Bill asked the kid, "You want to come on and see it?" So Bill Shatner let the kid in his little camper, and he showed he's inside of his camper, what the kid thinks was a spaceship. And the kid asked, "What's all these knobs and dials there?" And Bill said that was his propane heater for his stove. And he said, "Those are my knobs and dials so I can get the right signal from outer space, like Klingons and stuff like that, so I can protect myself and people like yourself, Said, even though you don't see me on TV, I'm still doing this stuff, And then he said the kid, Bill Shatner signed him something, and the kid went on his way, but he said that was the most craziest encounter he had when he was homeless. The kid's not paying attention to that, that's what an actor goes through when their show ends. But that was the one of the actors that I remember standing out the most when their show ended. It got bad, but they bounced back into the industry and went back into it, because not too many shows, when it's canceled, gets a second run for its show. Star Trek was canceled in 1968. Came back in 1979 because, Universal Studios decided to come up with a thing called Star Wars. And Paramount's looked at this and said, "Yeah, we got a thing like that called Star Trek, If we try to upgrade it a little bit, I'm pretty sure that's going to give you guys a good run for your money here." And turns out that's why Star Trek, the motion picture, came out, all because of Star Wars. I mean, it was boring and it made it put you to sleep, but that's the situations what actors go through. For Trailer Park Boys, what they need to do is they got to go find their own acting gigs on their own. I mean, The Trades is an alright show, but when you see all the cast, or majority of the cast, jumping on The Trades, that's not a good sign. It means they're desperate. Their gigs they're running low now. But I believe what they should do is move on outside the province of Nova Scotia for acting gigs. I mean, Nova Scotia, Trailer Park Boys is as good as it gets. I mean, I told you guys this in the past on a podcast where an actor who was with SwearNet, he quit, who I used to work with in the acting industry. And we were on the set called Kill the K-Cup. And that's where I met him. And I guess he's going through a vicious dry spell with nothing. And he seen my stuff on YouTube and all this stuff. And I said, "Well, buddy, that's as good as it gets. Sometimes you gotta work for yourself," and I always been like that kind of person. Because throughout life, I was brought up with a family who believed in unions. If you're not a part of a union, they often said the job ain't worth it. It's too risky. Don't bother with it. I'm a person that always been hands-on, willing to do the job. But those unions been getting in the way, causing more trouble than they're doing any good. I'm not saying there's anything bad about a union. I think they're great to have. But when they start blocking people off, that's a bad sign. But that's the way I've been. Unions, if you can get in, take it. But I believe with Trailer Park Boys, with the actor union, I believe they should reshape their show. No offense to the actor union, but I think they should actor union, get rid of it completely, so they can operate cheaper, more affordable. You can go without the actor union and have just as great actors, because when I had my auditions for my movie, which was terrible, it's called Hell and back in 2014, which was disgraceful. I was very angry at the way how that video turned out, when the movie turned out, whatever you want to call it, when it was done. I noticed that the people who was outside of the actor union who's attended my auditions were more talented than what the actors were that were in the actor union. And I'm not saying that to discourage them. I'm not saying that to insult the actor union. I'm just saying that's what I noticed. But the problem is what I had when I was doing my auditions. When you go to Hollywood, when they're casting for a movie or a TV show, they have millions of dollars to back up their auditions, which means they don't always have their auditions in one spot. They'll have it scattered out through the United States or in Canada, wherever they think their good acting talent's at. And they go all around the country looking for actors. But I didn't have that money to do that. And that was my downfall. I needed that extra room to move around and didn't have it. Because I noticed there was better actors outside the actor union than there was in the union. Even though I had actor members attend my audition, and I remember repeat myself many a times on social media and in person, this auditions is for non-actor union members only. Because I had clearly stated, if you attend this auditions, I'm not going to say nothing, but I said, if I were to give you this role, and if the members of the actor union was to report that actor, I told them the actor union is going to kick you out of that union. I said, that's not something what you don't want to happen, and I'm actually doing you a favor by not putting you in the movie. And there was a few actor members I had attend that audition. So I said, I'm going to do you a favor. I'm not going to say that you're here. I'm just going to, no, I can hire you, but I don't want to do it because I don't want to hurt your you know what I mean? Yeah, so that's what I did. So I said, I'll just pretend that you weren't here, blah, blah, whatever. But that short film movie, what the hell you want to call it, Hell and Back, it was disgraceful. If anything could fail, I mean not fail, but crash, that crashed the hardest because the first problem is when you get your production crew, they got to be dedicated. I had a guy who was dedicated, but he wasn't dedicated enough where he needed to be. He was overcharging himself for his capabilities, what he could do in the industry, and he couldn't deliver on what he was saying. So I told him I was just very concerned about the sound quality, the picture quality, the environment of the film. I said the film was supposed to be a dark, edgy element like the 1989 Tim Burton's Batman movie. It was supposed to have that kind of a dark element, picture quality to it. And when I seen it, I said, buddy, I might as well just go to the funny farm and sign myself in. I said, this here ain't fit, and it wasn't fit. But that's what it's like in the film industry. You really gotta watch it, because you mean, I had a woman from the actor union. She's a good instructor, but a lousy. She protests. It's not good. But I respected her on a high level. Her name was Dale. She told me, she said, Adam, I'm going to tell you something. And this is a true story. She said, Adam, I don't know how many people we came down the conveyor belt saying we're going to make a movie and all this stuff. Majority of the time, they can't deliver on anything. Not only do they humiliate themselves, but they humiliate the people around them, and they humiliate the industry. And basically what she's saying is, if they can't do the job, get the hell out of here. And I have to agree. And basically what she's saying is, here I am with people coming up to me saying, I want to do, Adam, I'll do this job. I can't deliver on what they're saying. That's exactly what Dale was telling me about. So those are fucking idiots, and get those idiots out the door. I mean, I was very close to picking them up and throwing them out the door. It was that bad. I said, no, this is not what this movie was supposed to be about. I said, well, I'm the producer. I'm the one who takes the responsibility for this movie failing. The character that I made, the ultimate bad guy, Kane, is supposed to be a very scary individual. He's the devil. He came back in time, he cursed the city of Halifax, he cursed the Halifax harbor, and he caused the Halifax explosion to happen, and he caused all the bad luck to happen in the city of Halifax. That's Kane. He did even make the picture quality to the character look scary. That's the concern. And when you go to Hollywood, they got their makeup artists, they got everything to make the character look real. And when that character is not meeting those expectations, it's very concerning. So, that's what I got to say about that. But the Trailer Park Boys with their liquor, what was it they're selling? It's like the Coldstream store. I found it on the Google Maps. I've seen it. Here's the thing with President Donald Trump with these trade wars. Same thing with the Trailer Park Boys with their chips. Is that Canadian made or is that American made? Because that's the big thing. If that's American made, you might as well just not bother with it. If it's Canadian made, oh, hey, here you go. But with the tariffs, things are going. I predict the Trailer Park Boys, their chips will close. That will go. Their liquor, if that's American, that will go. It's a bad time right now. It's a very difficult time, and it's a lot like the recession. The pandemic. But, it's just, when you vote these wrong people in, it's just one fucking idiot after another. And Trump, he had these ideas, but he's gone crazy now. Now we got a meeting with King Charles. We're going to see what happens with that. King Charles could say, no, let's join Canada and the United States. But on the other hand, he could tell Trump to go fuck himself and get out of my way, because if you come back, you step foot in Canada, I'm going to throw the military at you. That could happen too. But no, my failure to attend this, was it an autograph session at the Coldstream store in Dartmouth Crossing at 37 Legalman Close? What a fucked up name for a street that is. It had nothing to do with those colleagues of mine, the Dunsworths. It had nothing to do with my negative dealings with them. Nothing at all. It's just that I had meetings to attend. I had to deal with my summer work to getting ready for starting up, property maintenance, stuff like that, and I, for this week, just flat broke until next week, till my check comes in. So that's why she is what she is.